Greetings, ducklings! Welcome to Uncle Ducky's Quack Analysis of Tomb Raider. That's right, the definitive edition of the 2013 action-adventure. I am Laura Croft, an assertive young female archaeologist who also happens to be a brutal killing machine in a tank top because violence is sexy. As Laura Croft, being a 120-pound death-dealing unit is not the most unrealistic thing about me, and I would bet my boob job that this is going to be a good series. I'm on a boat, I mean a ship, in the Dragon's Triangle south of Japan looking for an ancient civilization because there was nothing good on TV. Things are going pretty well, but there's a storm and suddenly I'm drowning. Talk about a suitable metaphor for my chronic depression, but it falls apart when someone saves me. I fall into the sea and get spat up on shore. I see my people all alive because a little shipwreck never hurt anybody. But I'm sucker punched and strung up like every frat party in college that I kept going back to. I'm hung upside down in a sort of cocoon like a caterpillar about to make a stunning transformation. I of course light myself on fire to escape and am immediately impaled. The frat party vibes are real, so I'm not too alarmed and keep on moving. Some crazy man grabs me from behind because men are dogs and proceeds to pursue me through the grungy caverns. It takes me way too long to solve the first puzzle I encounter because my looks carried me through archaeology school. The crazy man grabs me again, but this time his head is crushed by a boulder and I think he died. The heart-racing sequences of action are pretty nifty and all that was packed into the introduction. Tomb Raider. I'm a social bird, and so before attempting to dress my wound, the first thing I've got to do is find my friends. What do you know? A camp where my friends have been. I casually put a video camera and box of matches in my magic back pocket that holds all my gear without tarnishing how great my butt looks in these pants. I try my friends on the radio, but get no answer, and instead of searching for something with which to dress my wound, I continue on. I need to hunker down. I've got one match and a pile of wet sticks, so of course I start a fire. I could take this opportunity to address the gaping hole in my side that is bound to get infected if left untreated, but no, I'm just gonna sit here. There are wounded people all over the world who would give anything to have a fire with which to cauterize their wounds, and here I sit, taking it all for granted with my shipwrecked white female privilege. The rain stops and I spot a corpse with a bow. I'm half an hour into this story and Laura has fallen from a high ledge at least a dozen times. What a klutz. I get in touch with my friend Roth, the ship's captain, but he can't come get me because he's busy or whatever. I've got to go to him. If he was simply below me, I'd be there in no time. Hey look, it's my good pal Sam. I've missed her, but for some reason she's with some crippled dude. I'm naturally suspicious of crippled people, like what are they hiding? He bandaged Sam's foot, but I don't bother to have him take a look at the gaping hole in my side. I've got more important things to do than preventing me from dying of infection, like taking a nap. When I awake, it's apparent that the cripple stole my Sam, and I step in a bear trap, which he probably set, but my ankle doesn't snap because milk builds strong bones. The crew shows up and rescues me, but they haven't seen Sam either. Lead archaeologist Dr. Whitman and I continue on in search of Captain Roth while the rest spread out to look for Sam. What could go wrong? We find a big door that some handicapped toddler drew pictures on and crank it open. For someone who just got rescued out of a bear trap by a man, Laura drops a super feminist line.
A woman wields that much power, and sooner or later it gets called witchcraft.
Laura sure is powerful, and maybe she never tended her wound that was caused by being impaled by a dirty metal rod because she's a witch and healed herself with the dark arts. Could anyone who doesn't have the confidence of a witch be suddenly surrounded by a dozen heavily armed men and say to the trembling archaeologist with limited firearm experience,
You still have a gun!
Some bad dudes tie us up. They're probably after whatever wealth this island has to offer. They've got more prisoners who get away by just getting up and running away. The top G leaves me unsupervised, a bad move on his part, as you should never turn your back on a witch. I'm all sneaky-like until the villain finds me and the game proceeds to take me through a series of quick time events as Laura struggles with this guy who is giving off some serious rapey vibes. I have to redo this part like 6 times though because I guess I'm bad at video games. Also, the game has the weirdest quick time prompt of quickly moving the left stick back and forth. I don't know about you, but I don't have that kind of thumb agility, so I have to turn my controller and use the middle finger of my other hand, and it looks like I'm trying to pleasure the thing. But just like real life, I get as many second chances as I need, and I totally am the guy. Who was he? I don't know yet. I was pretty broken up about having to shoot him for like 2 seconds, but then I think a switch flipped, and now I'm a hardened badass and start shooting everyone like it's the last day of school.
What the hell?
Roth is dual-wielding against wolves like a champ even after they took some of his leg for a bedtime snack. He let the wolves take the bag that has literally everything we need in it, way to go, specifically the transmitter so we can call for help to get us off this island. So I channel my inner Liam Neeson and go right into their den.
It's a fucking den.
That movie was called The Grey, and the group of plane crash survivors try to get out of the wolves' territory because they were getting snacked on, but Liam accidentally ends up in the wolves' den. It's actually really good. You should go watch it despite that spoiler I just dropped. At least I didn't drop the one bag that has everything we need like my pal Roth. The difference between me and Liam is that I head to the wolf den intentionally. Having stabbed a dog and enjoyed a heartfelt conversation with Roth, I change clothes and head up the mountain. After some climbing, I take a look at Sam's recordings because she was supposed to be documenting Dr. Whitman, but it's obvious that she thinks I'm the main character. Now you document your own lives through social media because you think you're the main character, but what if you're not? I'm dropping spoilers today, like when your mom told your dad she was pregnant. Why am I roasting my audience? I don't know. I should turn these jokes inward because nothing is funnier than comedic self-degradation. My parents dropped me when I was a baby. I shoot up lots of bad guys, get my hand on a machine gun, and then shoot up some more. The game actually gives some of The Last of Us vibes when it introduces finishers. Shoot a NPC in the knee, and then bash their face in with a rock. Wholesome and fun. I'm almost to the tower when a boss NPC shows up to teach me a lesson. He's got a shield, a tricky new obstacle to deal with. It takes me exactly 13 seconds to finish him. Kill him sounds better. Don't you dare say this game isn't realistic. I put on a jacket because it's super cold, and I take the role-playing experience seriously. Once at the top, I get in touch with the pilot of a plane that has been searching for us, and I tell him our location, but need to start a fire to work as a signal for him. Relief washes over me as we can all go home now, and I can return to doing normal 20-year-old girl things, like tanning, making sandwiches for the hubby, and curling up with a thick archaeology textbook. Never mind, the plane crashes and everyone dies. This island is apparently alive and conjured up a storm out of nowhere to take down the plane. Spooky stuff. I meet up with Roth again, and apparently not everyone died. One crew member of that airship has survived and needs help. Being the basic protagonist that I am, I want to go help him, but Roth's all like, nah fam, forget about him, we have to get back to the others. And I'm all like, blood, that's kinda sus. You think I'm really going to leave this guy? I'm way too predictable for that. And then Roth drops a sick line.
Make sacrifices, Lana. You can't save everyone.
I know about sacrifices.
No, you know about loss. Sacrifice is a choice you make. Loss is a choice made for you.
I can't choose to let him die, Roth.
So I dip out on the old man. How dare he say that I don't know about sacrifice? I once sacrificed a goat under the old oak tree during a full moon. Get it? Because I'm still doing witch jokes. I'm almost to the survivor's smoke signal, but insert dramatic fall. He's not here, so I start tracking him through some ancient ruins. I've got a hankering for rabbit jerky, so I snipe one from a few feet away, but it's in a bush, so I can't get it. Rules are rules. There's a big temple and the pilot's just chilling on the steps casually bleeding out. Then the cripple, who is hiding that he's actually the leader of some cult that wants to harness the ancient magic practiced on the island, shows up and they totally capture me.
But you're just as naive and predictable.
I couldn't agree more, so it's no surprise that when Laura finds herself tied up yet again, she escapes in less than a minute. One of the stone trolls from Middle-earth is here, so the game really keeps me on my toes. I find the coffin of the so-called sun goddess and discover that this is the location of some ascension ritual and the transference of power from the divine to the human, I think. What does that mean? I don't know, but I now have a shotgun. Sam manages to steal a radio from one of the guards that's doing a poor job at guarding her and tells me her location. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there right quick, girly, and proceed to fall down a mountain because half of this game is Laura falling, but it was quicker. I find a shantytown and proceed to sneak through water contaminated by sewage and corpses, and it's now that I decide it's a good time to cauterize my wound. Procrastination will kill you, kids. But now that I've sealed the sewage and bodily fluids of rotting corpses inside my body, it's time to fight more bad guys who have taken Grim hostage. They want me to surrender, but Grim knows that I'd never sacrifice myself for him, so he just goes ahead and dies. I'm pretty shaken up, but I finally reach Sam, and the not-crippled cult leader wants to try burning her alive to see if she's the one who will finally free them from this island's grasp. While that's definitely a solid plan, I step in with my bulging messiah complex to be Sam's savior, but get dropped hard. Then the island's all like, no bro, don't burn her, and puts the fire out. This apparently means that she's the one, and these silly gooses don't kill me on the spot, so I escape their grasp with my ninja moves that every aspiring archaeologist knows. The game gives us the iconic slow rise out of bloody water, which is pretty neat. It reminds me of birth. I spot some cannibals eating the fresh corpse of another prisoner, but they seem quite harmless, and as I approach, they run away. This is a reminder to us all that cannibals are people too, and like the old Checkers motto says, you gotta eat.
What are you doing? You gotta eat. We'll give you something really, really good. You gotta eat.
That was really their catchphrase, like, yeah, our fries are well seasoned, but you can tell this ain't real food. But hey, you gotta eat. And I did. Anyways, I find my friends and they're locked in a cage that's suspended in the air. No problem though, I just shoot my fire arrows through some explosive gas and voila. They're free and I'm suddenly running through the village that's burning hotter than my pee did after eating checkers. I'm a nosy Nelly, so I eavesdrop on Matthias, who insists that we really are all trapped on this island and Sam is the key to getting us out because the blood of some ancient goddess runs through her veins. If that's true, I'll cut her myself, but who knows, I haven't played the rest of the game yet. Well, I rescue Sam, but more stuff blows up and we get immediately separated again. There's a chopper incoming and I've got to get to it before the storm takes it out. The bad man has his men chase me across an exploding bridge. I don't pleasure my controller good enough and fall to my death, but somehow I survive. Roth is on the chopper and I take the leap in the same way I did on the boat at the beginning of this quaint tale. We need to land, but the pilot doesn't think we'll survive if we try to land, so I threaten to shoot him in the head, which I guess would kill us all anyway. He can't argue with my impeccable logic and he submits to my demands, but we are struck by lightning and crash and the pilot dies, of course. I'm unconscious, dreaming innocently about archaeology, but my dream suddenly turns oddly erotic when Roth tries to quote-unquote save my life. He then takes an axe in the back for me, which I guess is pretty cool, but a little chauvinistic because now here I am again experiencing loss while he's making a sacrifice like he thinks he's better than me or something. My friends find me and we gently burn Roth's fresh corpse. I need time to grieve, so they all leave me again to go try to fix a boat, because it's important to split up as often as possible, especially after you've spent so much time trying to regroup. After destroying some more bad guys, I literally start heading to the same place my friends went, but again, I'm going alone so that I could spend an extra few minutes watching Roth's body burn. They apparently made it down there safely, but I'm Laura Croft, and if I don't fall to my destination, then I'm not going. The gang's working on getting this boat fixed, and then Professor Dorkface shows up all super sus-like with his titillating golden locks. He might be working against us, but he's definitely a silly goose.
I feel like I've run for miles.
And you've barely broken a sweat.
Must be fitter than I thought.
Alex went to get some tools and he can't handle himself, so I go after him. Don't you love it when a game gives you a weapon to replace the one you've been grinding to upgrade the whole time? Alex is back on the ship where this adventure all started. He somehow got there without having to take down 50 men like I did. You'd think a witch could be more sneaky. Wow, look at me with my messy hair and dirty skin and scratches and bruises. I've really matured into a PTSD-afflicted psych ward patient. The trauma continues when I find Alex. His leg is crushed and pinned to the floor, but he got the tools we needed. He's making jokes about his dance career being over, but let's be honest, it never began. Some bad guys come in and start shooting at us, so I'm forced to leave Alex. I give him a kiss on the cheek though, because I know it will embolden him to do what he needs to, shoot the flammable gas and blow himself up. Alex died a hero, but why die a hero when you can live as one? I find an old journal, and some scientist dude had discovered how to gain control of the storms. I need to go to some ancient general's tomb. Hey, Tomb Raider, I get it. I deliver the tools to my buddies and tell them about Alex's dance career, and things get a little spicy.
Seems anyone caught with you has a pretty low survival rate.
Reyes,
Better keep your distance then.
let's just eat.
I'm totally ready to raid this tomb. I find some general dude who put a sword in his belly. I cut my hand on the still sharp blade and then grab it again in the exact same way. Cut me once, shame on you. Cut me twice, impossible. There's a note in the handle, and all my Duolingo lessons are finally paying off as I read the Japanese writing. So apparently the storms are super stormy because the soul of the original Queen Lady is trapped in a decaying body or whatever, and I've got to burn it in the ritual chamber. This is why you should always cremate your pets and relatives for good weather. I'm worried about convincing my friends about this, some of whom are already suspicious about how people seem to die after hanging around with me. Maybe I'm the one who's cursed. Reyes questioned me and then got shot in the arm. She had it coming. I explain the situation and she decides to trust me, probably because she doesn't want to get shot anymore. We make our way by boat to the big tomb. Matthias tricks Whitman into thinking that he's going to introduce the new queen, but when he announces her to the guards, Matthias keeps her from appearing to the guards, who then slice Whitman up like a pretentious salami. It reminds me of the time in grade school when in class we were supposed to pick a partner for a project and stand up, and I assumed that who I thought was my good friend would choose me, so I stood up and approached the front, and then he came up and said, "Why are you here?" slicing me to pieces of embarrassment in front of the whole class as I returned to my seat, now dead inside. LOL. Matthias sneaks past them with Sam, and I follow after, unleashing the rage I've pent up within me since childhood. Alright, so what's happening is this original Queen Lady's soul keeps transferring transferring to different bodies. That's how she keeps going. She's a trans soul. I don't know about you, but I'm putting trans soul on my bingo card for 2024. Sam is supposed to be the next one, but I'm like, no way, Jose, I have weapons. I briefly catch up to Matthias, and he tries to get into my head when he says this.
Do you think that you're the hero, Lara? Everything I've done, I did to survive. How many lives have you taken to do the same?
Honestly, like probably so much more than he has. Like I've killed hundreds of dudes, like so much death has been dealt by my manicured hands, it's crazy. But I've got a thick skull, so his words don't affect me. I chase them up the icy mountain in my tank top and proceed to fall to my death several times, but somehow I survive. When I make it to the top, Matthias has begun the ritual and the old queen's soul starts to power up a Kamehameha wave. I brutally kill a big boss man like he had me working on Saturdays with no overtime pay, and then Matthias and I attempt to settle our differences, but he breaks my face to death with my own ice pick, but somehow I survive. I grab his gun, which means that Lara Croft is now dual-wielding pistols. It's iconic, and it's violent, and it's sexy, because I shoot Matthias to death, and he does not survive. I need to burn the body, so I stab the old queen with my torch, and she blows up. Me and Sam have a totally straight moment together, and it looks like she's gonna be okay. The curse is lifted, and we leave the island, hooray. A ship picks us up, and my friends are gonna be okay, except the ones who died. The sailor says we'll be home soon, but guess what? I'm not going home.
I'm not going home.
I'm going straight into my next adventure, and apparently I'm not even going to take a shower. That's Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I do plan on playing the other two games at some point. If your knee is sore from all of the knee slapping you did at my knee slappers of jokes, then please like this video and subscribe for more mediocre content. If you don't want to wait for my next video, then check out my other channel, Uncle Ducky, which is focused on episodic playthroughs of bigger RPGs. The next game I'm playing on this channel is Alan Wake, so stay frosty and stay tuned.